definitely it's a Genius Act, it's a Clarity Act in process. It's FOMO, as Kelly mentioned, and then also I'd say what institutions are mainly doing, because they were already due diligencing this, as Kelly mentioned early on, most of them, they've had committees, boardrooms, full divisions in many cases for years, but from implementation that we've just not seen all of that. But it's all led up to this point, and really where I'm seeing most of it happening now is really operational risk. So they went from the due diligence side to now looking at operational risk, but very specific operational risk as it relates to actual deployment and execution. So when we are seeing a lot of that happen, I mean, as Thomas mentioned, moving, you have one of the largest life insurance companies in the world, now due diligencing this. So this, definitely proof that large institutions are looking at this, but they are still being very calculated at, and they're looking at the same thing with tokenization. Is the first thing to get tokenized was the dollar, right? Something very easy at the bottom of the ladder. You saw treasury bills, money market funds. You don't see a whole lot of real estate tokenization that makes any sense, that fits, because there's a lot of red tape there, right? Ultimately, that's exactly how institutions are doing the same thing. They're looking at what is the lowest rung. It's treasury bills. Like we do business, as institutions think, they don't think in dollars most of the time, but fiat, they're thinking in treasury bills. How do we use those and tokenize treasury bills to settle quicker, faster, cheaper? Ultimately, then they're moving into each product up the line, whether it's using their loans as collateral, etc. So we're seeing all of that, but they're just moving up the ladder based on risk and operational risk as it goes.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. We're not exploring this for DeFi. I mean, DeFi is great, but this is all about the operational, the infrastructure layer, right? When you're talking of trillions of dollars, you save 5-10 basis points. That's a lot of savings. I think that's going to be the primary driver. Then you can have distribution, better products, potentially DeFi, which I'm still 50-50 on. But the one thing, we're not looking at crypto. Right? We're looking at the blockchain as an infrastructure product play. In terms of institutions investing in crypto, I think we're still far from that.
So Thomas, you mentioned a really good point. Why you are 50-50 on DeFi right now? Like, for example,
last week.
Exactly.
No, so DeFi is a great idea. I think it's just the core. If you go back to core principles, right? The core principle of DeFi is permissionless. The core principle of traditional finance is permission. So like that's a clear conflict. I think it's going to be resolved. So I think we're going to figure that out. But we're all going to have to come together and sort out what DeFi should look like. But DeFi as it is today will not scale unless you bring the traditional Wall Street folks on board and add some permissions around that, or it's not going to scale.